Hey, everybody. Welcome again to the podcast. I am so excited that you've joined us today. I have my special guest with me here today, and I believe that you're going to be blessed by what they have to say. We're talking about marriage made easy. We're going to kind of go through their love story, their ups and their downs, and perhaps what they would like to share with those of you who are dating and for those of you who are married. Now, Pastor and Dr. D.D. Freeman, been married for 37 years. That's a long time, 37 years, 3 children, 8 grandchildren, 4th generation pastors, the Spirit of Faith for 27 years in Baltimore, Brandywine, and Temple Hills, Maryland. So we're glad to have them here today. Pastor and Dr. D.D. Freeman, welcome.
Thank you.
So delightful to be with you today, Bishop. I tell you, you to the both of us, in particularly me, have set the benchmark for years concerning what ministry should be, what it should look like, how it's conducted. Man, I'm so humbled and grateful to be with you on today. We are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Oh, anytime. Glad that you're here. Now, you've been married for 37 years, and I'm a firm believer that love is the glue that keeps things together, and it is a human trait, if you will, that God gave all of us. Some people can say, it's impossible to love. No, we have the ability, we can love if we desire to love. So I guess my question here, as I've watched you guys, you've given birth to a ministry called Marriage Made Easy. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but let's get into your love story, because people are watching, and listen, people are busy, they're nosy, they want to know, how did people get hooked up and all that kind of stuff. So could you just briefly walk us back into how you guys met and what started the sparks?
Now, do you want his version or mine?
I just do.
Always. I knew you were going to say that. You go ahead, because I'm interested in hearing your side again.
Okay, I will tell you. I met him when I was 14. I was working my first summer job and came to the pool with a guy that I liked.
Okay, that's a good story.
Yeah, that was a guy that I liked.
Yeah.
And
wow.
That was the first time we met, and I don't really know how it really evolved into us being friends, because we stayed friends for years. We never got in a relationship or dated, but I
just wanted his girlfriend, Bishop. I call it puppy love, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm seeing this girl, and I'm saying, around that time, we had rap lines, you remember. I say, hey, girl, leave that squirrel. Come see the world with me. And then I asked her, what's your sign?
And I told her to float on.
Float on, you remember that?
But then I turned 16. I remember turning 16, and I really had a crush on him. I really liked him. And he really wasn't paying me any attention other than just being my friend. And someone at the recreation center, the director, asked me to be in this pageant.
That's an accurate story.
I told them the only way that I would participate in the pageant is if they could get Mike Freeman to be my escort. And
wow.
They said, wow, that's an easy task. And
because this guy was a mentor of mine. So at that point in time, he could pretty much.
Yeah, and like a father of mine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I got him to be my escort. And I think we just really stayed friends again. It was funny because it was not funny. Now I look back over it. That was the worst day almost of my life at that time, because I had forgot my whole speech, was in a pageant and didn't have a clue of what I was
totally embarrassed me. I
Listen, I embarrassed myself. I vowed to God that I would never stand up and say anything in front of anyone. And when I came off the stage, I remember how he comforted me with just words encouraging me and telling me it was okay or whatever. You know, I really don't remember a lot, but I remember that moment making impact in my life. To this day, I look back and say, wow, he was a part of a transformation for me, seeing, you know, me make that vow to God and now being here in ministry and his wife, he helped develop me out of a vow that I made at 16. But we stayed friends, and I remember him becoming a Christian. I wasn't.
I was a Christian all the time.
No.
I just wasn't living like that.
Exactly. He was a heathen, just like I was. And I remember he became a Christian and I wasn't. And he called me and said, hey, I'm saved. You know, I want to be married. Are you interested in being married? I'm like, no. He was liking somebody else. I'm like,
you are telling the
whole story. That's it. I'm like the woman with
it's helping somebody.
the whole truth, right? I mean, it's almost over. And I remember when it was New Year's night and I went to church, received Jesus for the third time. Came home, I was staying with my parents. I was 20. I think I was 20 or 21 at the time. And I came home.
You were 20 at the time.
And when I came in the living room, he was sitting in there talking to my mother at 1:00 in the morning. I'm saying, what are you doing here? But that night is when I realized that this would be my husband. I never thought I would marry him, especially after all of those years. Like, you didn't like me when I was really liking you. Like, go away. Who are you? What do you want?
Right.
And I realized that I was going to marry him. I called my girlfriend and said, yeah, I'm going to marry him. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going to marry him. And 3 months later, he proposed. I didn't tell him. He proposed. Well, he begged me.
Borderline threatened.
Yeah, like three times. Either you marry me now, forget it. And I was like, And then
here's the single part of it. And I believe this is where it would help and assist a lot of the singles. I wanted to live right, but I also wanted to have sex.
This is true.
And this girl would not give me any. She kept it locked until she got her.
Wow.
And it was interesting because.
Well, I would like to say this, you know, for those of you that still may have not even had sex before you got married. I was not a virgin when I got married. I had just
made a commitment.
I had made a
commitment. Right. Wow.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
I'm glad. Oh, go ahead, Bishop.
No, go. You finish your thought, and then I have a question.
I'm glad she mentioned that part of it because there are people who watch all the time, and we share sometimes our testimonies from the place of victory and not from the place it started. And so with her being just that transparent about where she happened to be, because when she made a decision to live for the Lord, all of that included that commitment unto him. And I, being fourth generation pastor, raised in the pastor's home, my daddy always told her, you better marry or you're going to burn. And I'm thinking,
right, yeah, familiar with that.
Yeah. And so the whole pursuit was about, being married, being engaged, having an opportunity to engage in what married couples are.
Right.
And for me, my father was the same way. He met my mother at a bus stop, and 6 weeks later they were married.
Right.
5 years of marriage, they remained together.
I met 3 months later they were married.
Still are married today.
Wow.
71 years. So we are the product of a bunch of years of marriage. My point is, when we decided to do it, she didn't think her mom was ready to receive that. or how'd that go? And we eloped.
Yeah,
How'd that go?
Nobody
Why?
was ready. You pressed me and told me we could still have a wedding later, and I let him convince me to go get married and not tell my parents.
The plot thickens, Bishop. We got married, ran off to the Justice of Peace, got married.
What?
And for 15 months, she went home, I went home. We would see each other. We purchased the home.
And you were married, but your parents didn't know.
No one knew.
Oh my goodness.
Years.
And it gets worse.
What happened?
Because his father was going to officiate our wedding that was coming up. So we had to go to another state and get another
license.
Oh,
God.
So you can see where this is headed.
So I'm telling you, this is very healthy, I think, for the listeners, because, you know, so many times people watch people in television as, you know, I'm quite sure they've seen both of you. You're always on TV. You're doing excellent with your various programs and even with the Marriage Made Easy project that you guys are on. And people look and say, oh, they're perfect people from day one. They've gotten it right from day one. And to hear this, there are people watching and listening who are saying, okay, so that means we can all make mistakes. We can all do things based on driven by the flesh, because back then, okay, fine, you guys just went out, got married sneakingly, didn't tell your parents. For whatever reasons you did it, it's okay for us to be human. Just as long as it turns out like a pastor and Dr. D.D. Freeman. So I want to go back to, because you said something, Dr. D.D., that I really want to zero in on. You had this event at your school, this presentation, and you flunked it. But you said the way he encouraged you, that did it for you. I want you to talk a little bit to women, and then I'm going to ask Pastor to talk to the men. How important, Dr. D, for women to be so alert, to pick up the heart of a man, like your husband, a man who is right there at the right time to heal you when you're broken? Because so many women are hurt, shy, broken. But when a man comes along to help them, he's saying the right things, but sometimes they don't know how to embrace that man. You embraced a man that you weren't even interested in. But the way he opened up his mouth and comforted you, it did something for you. Would you talk a little bit about that?
I would. Thank you so much.
Great observation.
Right. Yeah. I would really just minister to women to not put up walls and judge everybody by what someone else has done to them. A lot of times we're not as vulnerable and open as we should be because of the hurt, disappointment, and rejection, not only from being in relationships, but maybe even from our fathers. And a lot of times when a man comes along and try to offer their assistance or encouragement, we're not so readily open to receive it because we think, you know, it's something behind it. Like, what's your motive? What do you want from me?
The angle?
Yeah, what's the angle? What is it? I mean, even with me, myself, I think about how I was open and ready to receive it at that time. But then because of a course of events that happened between, say, that time and the time that I got married, when I got married, what I received at 16, I wasn't as open to receive when I got married, which was crazy because of different things that had transpired, you know, during whatever course of events. And I remember my sister, my next to the older sister, coming to me and saying, hey, you're going to make it hard for your husband. And I'm like, what? She said, if you don't begin to receive, you know, him and what he has to offer you, stop being so independent. You're not going to make it, you know, in other words. And I remember having to, you know, reevaluate even that, being open to receive what he had to offer me, that I wasn't this island that I thought I was, that I wasn't as independent and as boss chick as I
But
thought.
amazingly independent, and rightfully so. You have.
And was that difficult? And was that difficult for you? Because there's a lot of women. I mean, we're touching some real sensitive subjects here. There's a lot of women so independent, and by right, okay, I get that. Gain your independence, you know, whether it's financially or emotionally. But was it hard for you being an independent woman, kind of like, you know, really, I don't need a man to make me? Was
Yes,
it hard
it was.
for you to just kind of just chill, break
I'll
down
answer
the walls?
that. Yes. It was very difficult.
It was very
Borderline nefarious for me to deal with.
And how did you handle that, Pastor? How did you handle that?
I didn't very well at all. Her independence met my independence, and which started a very outlandish, livid, nefarious type of environment where I was bent on now having my way, and she was bent on now having her way. And I promise you, Bishop, in full disclosure, full transparency, man, it created Hades, hell in our home. Now, mind you, I'm born again, filled with the Spirit.
filled with something.
We care not to mention anymore. She's born again, filled with something.
Something.
And when I tell you, no, on our way to our ministry, my father's church, every single Sunday. Now, I'm telling you, it was on. I mean, literally cussing each other out. Well, she wasn't much of a cusser.
I tried.
You ever met anybody who didn't put the words all together? And I used to have to help her. No, you meant blankety blank, 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 blank. And I mean, driving up, we're on our way to the ministry.
To your father's ministry.
To my father's ministry. And of course, I'm not pastoring at that time. And all the way there at one another. I mean, this precipitated all sorts of things to go on for so long.
It was horrible.
I mean, even getting out. And I'll tell you about the form that people put on. We jump out. We just finished arguing. Get out of the car. See a saint. Praise the Lord. How you doing? God good. It was amazing.
It was, but I would like to go back to that independence part because
Yes, please.
it's like I was very independent, like he said, and he was very independent. He's baby boy, I'm baby girl. We both were spoiled and used to, you know, having our way. And because of that, we begin to try to break one another and to make each other fit into this mold that we had created, you know, for one another. And as a woman, it's typically, I mean, every relationship I've ever seen, the woman is the one who usually crumbles first. Where I begin to lose my self-esteem, self-respect, self-image, my value, my worth. It was like I just reduced myself to being nothing because I didn't properly know how to adapt and be flexible and agile coming into a marriage and knowing how to really properly submit to what God has placed in his life. Because I was raised in a secular environment, my father didn't raise me to, you know, honor a man or submit to a man. He had 5 girls. And
but
so
he was committed to marriage.
He was committed to marriage, but I couldn't come in with my ideology of marriage to make it work in this home because he came with another perspective.
2 different worlds.
2 different worlds.
Wow.
And so it was horrible. So I would really suggest to women that are independent now, that are running their own businesses, that are out here making it happen, to make sure that they are in alignment with the word of God, submitting to Holy Spirit now, acknowledging him in all of their ways. So when they get married, it won't be as difficult. You know, they are asking God, okay, God, should I go and buy a car? God, what do you think about this? It's like because they're so used to acknowledging Father, when they get married, it won't be a thing to say, hey, babe, what do you think about this?
Right.
Let's work together. But people don't correlate being led by the Spirit and being led by a husband.
That's good.
This is so healthy, what you both are sharing on this platform. And, those of you who are watching and you're listening, please, I need to hear your comments because I think Dr. D is talking to you women. And of course, Pastor is sharing with the men. We're going to hear his side, in depth a little bit more. But I really need the listeners and those of you who are watching on Spotify, Apple, perhaps on the internet, focus in on what you're hearing, especially for women, because this is so important. What Dr. D is saying, women, it's okay to thrust your trust in God.
Come on.
First.
Come on.
Release yourself in God. What she's saying, when she finally said, okay, even though my background is saying, hey, girl, stand up for yourself, don't let no man tell you what to do. She went to God and submitted herself to God. Then it was easier now to submit to the headship of God. That's the man that he placed in the home. And it doesn't mean, Dr. D, that women should lose their identity, right? It just means you're submitting to the order of God because so many women are hurting their destiny. Women who are wonderful, great, and have gotten good men, but they screw it up because of that attitude, that unwillingness to submit because they think when they submit, they lose their identity.
Ooh, that's good.
No, that's good.
Definition.
They should have stayed single.
You have because notice the scripture says, he who finds a wife
finds a good thing.
It didn't say he that finds a woman. And the power to define is the power to fulfill. And whatever you can't properly define, you will never be able to carry out.
Right.
What are we talking about when we're talking about a wife? So as this woman is transitioning, even in her singleness, he's looking for wife material. So she has to have relationship with Holy Spirit and to literally submit herself in that respect. And that's what she discovered. Man, it was so difficult because in addition to her independence, the woman made much more money than I did. So why should I listen to this guy? And his money is funny. His credit is jacked up.
Was jacked up.
You know what I'm saying? I think she married potential in the project.
I did.
But I've been a man of faith all my life.
Thank God.
So you could not tell me I didn't have it all together. I was in faith.
Okay, so hold on one second, Pastor, because this is good stuff. And I'm going to juice everything out of this today.
Don't mind telling it all.
But doctor, because you're helping people, the whole purpose of this podcast, and I know somebody's going to forward this to a friend because someone who needs this kind of encouragement, because you can't keep doing the same things over and over, expecting change in your relationship, whether you're dating or you're married to someone, right now. But I want to ask Dr. D again. His credit was bad. He had no money.
No, wait a minute, Bishop. Let's not go that far.
He had no money. No,
I'm on her side today, man.
He wanted television put it on layaway.
So the question I want to ask you, because I hear it today, a lot of women, this is what they're saying. I ain't married, no man broke. He better have good credit. What made you, after being an independent woman, making good money, credit was good, you come into this relationship, chaos, all kinds of stuff. Why did you stay in it? And what made you say, wow, this man is good?
Purpose.
Let me just say
it again.
I can pitch. Oh,
Yeah, I say a purpose.
Wow. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah.
let me pitch this again. Her parents have been married. He's 91. We all live together. He's 91. Mom is 88 years old today. They've been married Mom is 89 this year. They've been married for 71 years this year.
Mhm.
She was so committed to the whole idea of
Wow.
the death do you part concept. The command. Marriage is something that you do not get out of a life. It's still until death do you part. Now, we know there are situations where people have divorce, but let's preach it here from the original intent of God. He hates divorce.
Right.
Moses gave permission. Jesus said, of course, because of the hearts and the hardness of their hearts. This woman was more committed to covenant than she was even concerned about her own pain.
Right.
Talk about it.
Absolutely. But I do want to go back to
That's
there
deep.
were
That's
moments that I did want out. Like, let me out of here. I don't want to be in this. But I had to exalt something bigger than my pain.
Wow.
And so I had to exalt purpose. Like you said, we were committed to the idea of marriage, but it was bigger than just even the idea of marriage, because I saw marriage as what my parents went through was not a good picture for me. I had to look at purpose in marriage as far as God's purpose and original intent for our relationship. I think we began to communicate more and understand that we had ministry together, and we realized that our marriage was our ministry, and it was more people involved in it than just him and I. And when you reduce or deduce your attraction to just the two of you, it's easy to escape or to run.
And innately or naturally, she has been a runner.
Absolutely.
She would not stay in the relationship and something looked like
You should talk about yourself, though.
Yeah, he's pointing at
you all are teaming up on me. I have to defend myself. But naturally, Bishop, I promise you, this girl, one of our brother-in-law today, actually told her it's no sense of me meeting this guy because he's not going to be around long. She just didn't play that.
Yeah.
If in fact a cat wouldn't step up, it was just over. Now she's in this relationship where she knows she's given her word to God. She now has to stand in something that she would naturally run in. Can you?
That's right. I didn't stick around long. So that's why I was saying there were times that I wanted to go because my nature was to just, bounce. Like,
that's
like
it.
You chew your food or
Right.
dumb. I was gone. That's why I was saying between that age 16 and being married 21 in that short time, I had experienced just too much of, nothing that caused me to just build this wall or this exterior protection around myself, that when I got married, it was like I didn't even let him in, even though I said, I do just say I'm there with you. I didn't say I was going to let you in my head space and in my heart.
Right.
It was interesting, but I don't know what did you want me to share with it?
No, that was perfect.
But here's the thing, thank you for being frank and open and honest, sharing, your low moments with the audience. Because sometimes, especially as Christians, we tend to pretend that life has always been sweet for us. And like you said, you were on your way to church fussing and fighting. I think ordinary people can relate to that. That's who we are. Sometimes we don't know how to navigate through our relationships and meet each other on common ground. But there are people watching now, listening, and they too are having a bad relationship. Maybe they're dating. The guy's not asking them, the woman for marriage, or they just don't feel they're compatible to each other because of the drama. There are people who are married, same thing. All kinds of chaos. They hate each other. For whatever reason, just like both of you. If they were to sit before you right now, and your words is what's going to either make them make a decision that they need to make this purpose, just like you, Dr. D. Your words today in counseling them is either going to get them to the place of understanding their purpose, that maybe they're meant together. So to be together, that they're meant to be together. So what would you say to them, to those people who, listen, no matter what you're going through, you're really meant to be together? Because my husband and I, we've had that experience. Then what would you say to the second group of people who perhaps, no matter what, they might have gotten married to the wrong person? Or, as you know, it takes two to make the marriage work. What if one is adamant, I don't want this? Oh, they're going to continue doing certain things that would violate the other person's rights. How would you, counsel these two groups of people now? And I can tell you, I can see people at the edge of their seats right now. Somebody just pulled over in their car and said, I want to hear this. So what would you say?
Bishop, that was a whole mouthful of what you just asked. Okay, I'll start and then I'll let you go into marrying the wrong person and all.
No, I don't want to.
I would love to go.
No. I want to start first and have a crack at before you get started, because there's so much she can say. Because just ride with me.
I'm riding with you.
Okay, Bishop, that was so relevant.
Mm-hmm.
The inquiry. First of all, the devil. Okay, these are the words that's going to possibly get you to reconsider throwing in the towel. We look back today at the way we live, all of what we've been able to accomplish, acquire, help with people.
I know what you're going to say.
All of those difficult days that we had before us, we now realize the day that we're in right now is the day that the devil wanted to keep us from the beginning.
Wow.
He never wanted us to see. What my appeal to those of you all, he doesn't want you to see
your future.
He doesn't want you to see your future.
He doesn't want you to see it.
He doesn't want you to see your future. We look back now and we say, had we thrown it all away?
That's good. That's good.
Another woman will be on here.
And this woman is living in the lap of luxury in every area of her life. Forget about the material things, the monetary things. We're talking about the real deal here now. Bishop, this is not the church persona. This is not the fake.
That's not fake. I could tell. It's real. That's why I said, I said it at the beginning, and I really want you both to understand I'm sincere saying that. That's why I've invited you both. Because I see that your relationship, your marriage is authentic. And what I'm so happy about from the get-go, without me even asking, you were upfront. It wasn't always like this. So you didn't paint a picture like it was perfect. So you're hitting it, Pastor, on the nail on the head. Because who would have thought, think about this. Look at your marriage today. You guys are really in love. Really respect each other, really are saving a lot of marriages. I've watched some of your Marriage Made Easy programs, and I will encourage all of my followers, Google them, look it up. They are amazing with how they open up their lives and how they encourage couples. But looking at you both now, I want to speak on the behalf of the entire world. Thank you for not throwing in the towel. I sincerely mean that. Thank you. Because had you done that, you would not have been in a program like this today. Had you done that, there's a woman, there's a man watching, listening right now, wouldn't have the opportunity to see the other side of the coin, that maybe their marriage can work too. So I just wanted to throw that in, that as your wife said before, purpose. She saw this day coming. Look, I tell you what, this has been an incredible conversation. I want to thank both of you for, first of all, accepting the invitation and for being so candid, so open to the people. I believe you have literally brought back some people to life. And I sincerely mean that. For those of you who are watching, listening, please, I need to hear from you. Make sure that you make a comment. Tell me how you were blessed with this series on Marriage Made Easy. In fact, it was really about relationship. It's more than marriage. But I want to thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on another podcast.